One Piece chapter 1150 is here, and Imu is incredible. Oh my goodness, the stakes have been raised, the power. I've been enjoying myself very much, but also, you know, our main three, Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, plus many more, Loki, some of the giants, some of the powerful giants, are all not here. And so while so much of I've enjoyed Killingham, Gunko, and Summers so much, I'm still just kind of waiting for them to show back up in the Sun Realm and show off. The stakes have been raised so much, I don't even know how we could possibly survive this. It doesn't seem possible. So Gunko, Imu, tells everyone as we have Colin crying that his dad has fallen down into the underworld, as we have people reeling about everything that's just happened. The library is burning, children it looks like they're not going to be thrown off the ledge. All these things are happening, and Gunko, Imu just goes silence, and then the power ripples out, and so many people pass out. Instant powerful display that you want to see from what is a huge antagonist for the series, the one that we've been waiting to get more from for so long, the one that so much of the world doesn't even know about, and here he is showing up himself because Mary Jo is on fire and he needs his troops back there, and he's like, why are you taking so long? Let me just handle this. So the power is immediate, but then Gunko, when she gets this, you know, demonic form, devil form, showing exactly who we're working with here, right? Imu there's already been so much imagery around the elders and the pentagrams. You know, the quest for dominance was always kind of on the forefront, but lately we've been seeing a lot more showing that no, we're fighting forces of overt evil here. But now we have this very clear imagery that should draw us right away to see, okay, this is the power, the ultimate power of these forces of evil. But it's also so dark because we know that Gunko has her own memories that have been suppressed. We know that Gunko has her own story, her own past with Brook, but all of this has been taken from her. And well, we can assume that a lot of her agency has been taken from her. It's possible that she herself did not elect to be in this position, serving under Imu, serving for the world government, for the Celestial Dragons. In this chapter, it's confirmed that that's not a problem. You do not have to choose to go under these powers. It can be foisted on you. So knowing that Gunko likely didn't choose this path, that she's being made into a puppet of some sort, and now we have her actually being possessed by Imu, that she's floating up in the air, her eyes have gone dark, her face has gone dark, and here she is just being a conduit for Imu to express his power and his control, to take over the situation and just handle things. It's really cool that we get this glimpse of Imu's power, and what we're seeing is he doesn't need all these systems that he has in play. He doesn't need the people underneath him, the other Celestial Dragons. He doesn't need the elders, anyone that he has serving his goals, even the warlords, and the systems that are at place there. Like, he doesn't need any of this. All he needs is puppets. All he needs is people that he can take over, exert his power, and force the world under his control. But he chooses to step back. He chooses to be anonymous, to be unknown, to be an empty throne, and to have all this false systems that seem to have some sort of order and some amount of balance. He chooses to allow people to think that they're in more control and that they have more agency than they do. But really, he's at the top of it all, and he can easily just dominate everything. But he allows the facade, which I think is interesting because we have the Celestial Dragons. Sorry, I'm analyzing so much before I'm actually getting into the story. I'll chill in a second. Because we have the Celestial Dragons who think that they're gods, who call themselves gods, who think they have all this power, who think that they have all of this influence and nobility, and it's all just an image. Yeah, you think that. That's cute. Whatever. Be the distraction from what's actually happening, what's actually controlling and running things. And now, to see this kind of power from Imu just makes me step back and look at the entire world of One Piece that way. All the systems at play are unnecessary, potentially. potentially Imu could just be the most overt dictator, but he allows all these things. You think you have some control. You think you have some order. That's cute. I'm still controlling it all. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think it's exciting what we could do with all of this. Anyway, Gunko looks amazing and terrifying, and it's also very tragic that she likely did not choose. Like she likely didn't say, yes, I'll take this role. So this is the role that she's in, completely likely against her will. Robin's definitely being set up to be a force against them. I think obviously we already know that Robin has her demon form, and so I don't know how much she could do, but at least visually it would look cool to have the two, you know, someone who has these powers and who has this form that looks similar, but she'll be fighting on the other side. But Robin's struggling against the vines and saying, I can't just sit here while all this is happening. I have to help. I think is Oda indicating that he's not done with her, that she is going to get free, and there is going to be some other role that she plays in this, which is good because we do have quite a few powerhouses still up here. Like it may not be our main three, but both Jinbei and Robin can be doing a lot more if they're just free. Now, the fact that they are currently bound by the powers of Gunko, who is currently bound by the powers of Imu, doesn't look good for their freedom, but I think Oda's hinting that, at least for Robin, that there's something else coming. Dory the blue ogre, Bragi the red ogre, I charge thee with dominance over this land. Okay. No worries. Yes, there was a system at play. Of course, we did have rulers, and we had a kingdom, we had a throne, we had a line of succession that admittedly isn't being utilized at the moment, but it was going to come back into effect. They were going to figure something out. No, Imu's going to come in and say, you're the rulers now, because I said so. And when they deny, he says, thou wilt be king. I keep saying he for Imu. We don't know, but I'll change it if I'm wrong. Are you with the holy knights? You're the one who's driven Elbaf to madness. Okay, so Dory, love the action on his part. Love him actually reaching in and using his strength and not being intimidated by the force that's just been displayed and saying, you're destroying Elbaf, which is interesting. You're the one who's driven Elbaf to madness. I guess that's true currently. That's the state of affairs. I was trying to read more into it as far as like what happened historically here, but that's probably just current times. Reaches in, uses his might, and he's like, absolutely not. I'm going to snuff this out. No way. And then, oh, whoops, that was Bragi. My bad. Then she pulls out the book and starts pulling weapons and tools out of it. Again, very standard imagery, but it looks amazing. And I think that it's so interesting that we have Imu here with this book that he can pull all of these objects out of and start attacking them with this incredible force. And what has just happened just chapters before this? The library was burned down. Imu determines the path of things. Imu is taking over the body of someone who can destine a future, who can set an arrow forth that cannot be disrupted. The Gunku, who can say this is the fate of things and then set it into motion, and it's you can resist, but it seems incredibly difficult to do anything about it. Now, Imu, who seems to be completely controlling this world, is taking over the body of someone who can control the fates and pulling out a book to fight against the people who he's just forced to burn their books, who he's just forced to burn their histories, their lives, their culture, who they are, so that they can fall under submission to his fate. Also, one might assume that Imu could pull anything from this book, so it has the power of imagination similar to Nika. Imu has been set up as the force of evil within this story, Nika being the force of freedom or of good, and Luffy trying to free people and give people that ultimate freedom. We have so much imagery of the clouds and, you know, light and brightness around Luffy in his Nika form, and then now we have all this imagery of darkness and evil coming from Imu through Gunko, and now we see that Imu has what seems to be full creative freedom. I can pull anything from this book. I can manifest whatever I want, whenever I want, and I can use that power to force submission. Whereas Luffy uses his power to pull anything out of the air to bring freedom. So I like, it's so clear that the dichotomy between these two, but I like that we actually are using the book as the imagery in the same arc where we've just burned the books to suppress the culture and the freedom of the people and to force their hand into doing what they're trying to make Elbaf do, to fight on their side, to fight this war, so that fate can decide, because apparently it's been fated that whoever has the giants on their side will win. And so now they're trying to force fate. There's just so many things that are all tangled together in what Oda's doing here. Anyway, she blows his arm off. Oh, it's so gross. Look at it. It's like it's dangling there, or not dangling. It's fallen to the ground. It's totally severed. In exchange for some measure of lifespan, thou wilt receive an undying body and an uncanny strength. Under fealty to Mu, thou art unbound by common sense and logic. Demons are the only proper form for life to take. So she's offering Dori and Brogy, she's saying, you're the new rulers of this land. I've deemed it so. I've decided. And in exchange for this power that I'm about to give you, I'll also be giving you all this lifespan and these other things. And obviously he doesn't want it. So the summoning circle ends up going underneath him and he sinks down into it and comes out as one of Imu's own. So it's not surprising that the force of evil within this world would not care about someone choosing to be on their side. But it certainly adds a level of darkness and a lot of potential questions of the world at large if Imu can just foist this on people. I've decided that you are going to be serving me now, and I really don't care what you have to say about it. And it's true. You don't have a say about it. This raises so many questions about King Harald and, did he break those horns off because he was denying the life that was being offered to him by the world government? Was it less about, I reject the ancient ways of my race and I choose pacifism, and as an outward symbol of this, I'm going to rip these horns from my skeleton? Or was it also alongside part of our past, part of our heritage is being forced in this direction? And I'm saying no to that. And of course, we also have to ask the question, is it possible that Harald was, against his will, despite what he wanted, forced to turn into something demonic, and his son had to kill him to save Elbaf? Her eyes are so disturbing, that like swirling away from them as they are one by one being taken over. These panels where they're taking the form that Imu is foisting on them and how impending this doom feels. Oh, so good. Not bad. So this is the power of Elbaf. It will not be destroyed, but preserved and ruled over. Perhaps it is time to stay and watch to see how useful they will be in war. So Ural is going to stay and fight. Very excited to see how that goes. But the situation is looking pretty dire, and this is probably what the game plan was the whole time, I imagine, to have them taken over. I remember when Gunko Summers and Killingham first arrived in Elbaf, they said, well, if we can't get Loki to join our forces and to have them come on their own, we're just going to have to do it by force. I assume this is what they meant. I assume they knew the whole time that we're going to have this country one way or another. There's so much that Oda can do with this. I mean, this has been such a shocking chapter and such a surprising turn for the story, but it makes sense, and it peels back a lot of implications for the wider world as well. And we're not on break, so who's to say what comes next? I really hope we're going to bring our people up from the underworld soon and see them, rise from the underworld to fight the forces of evil. I think that too could be really cool imagery and could bring a lot to what this struggle is. I'm a little bit nervous that they're just going to succeed and take all that they want and destroy Elbaf, or at least take control over Elbaf, and then everyone comes up from the underworld. That's certainly possible. We'll just have to see what Oda does. But I have loved these last few chapters, and I'm excited to see what he does next. Please do chat with me more in the comments. There's so much to discuss in this chapter, so please tell me your thoughts too. I would love to continue discussing there. I'll see you again soon. Bye.